All right, folks, welcome back to, I guess, our, holiday edition of Kings of Opinion, episode 83. We're a couple days away from Thanksgiving. It's just me and Big Earn today. Say hello.
Wanderer's still on the IL.
Yep, he's still hurting. Hopefully, some good meds will nurse him back to health soon, and we'll see him next week. But yeah, hopefully we'll see him soon. With that being said, I was so happy that I didn't have to watch a Jet game last week. And now I have to settle into, I have to watch a Jet game this week.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you had to watch a Dallas game last week that they actually did pretty well.
Yeah, surprise, they were on the road.
Yeah.
So they're at home this week, right? So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know, per se, what their deal is going to be for this week.
Well, they are playing the Giants, so.
Right, and it's Thanksgiving, so it's like a big day for them, right? Like, them and the Lions always have the Thanksgiving Day game. And I think they have the 4 o'clock game, if I'm not mistaken, right? I'm pretty sure. Yep.
Yeah. The Lions are always the early game.
Yeah, Lions are on at 12:30, followed by, they're playing Chicago. So that could be like a very interesting game, the way Caleb Williams was playing this past week. So we'll see. But Detroit's at home, and I don't know if they're undefeated at home, but the Lions are really, really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're basically scoring 50 points a game at this point.
Yeah. I think they've scored it 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. And they're 4-1. You know, it's funny. They're better on the road, the Lions.
Well, they've got 1 loss, so
I know, but they're 6-0 on the road.
Yeah.
It's not like they're 4-0 on the road and 4-1 at home. They have 2 more wins on the road. I was kind of thinking they had their only loss on the road. So this might not be good for them. They're playing the Bears right now. The Bears.
I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. But will they cover is the question. That's what's going on right now. And I know we have our picks that we normally do and all that. Did you find it like harder this week to do the picks? I had like 6 different picks I was juggling around in my head.
Me too.
And
Me too.
Well, I guess we'll get to it later. But anyway, I was happy that this week I got a break from the Jets. There's a lot more controversy coming from the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be there next year, and he doesn't want to play for the Jets. And then he went on whatever show.
According to what I'm seeing, they're saying that his first option is the Jets if he plays in 2025.
Well, I don't want to say I would assume so, but after how bad he's been the last 2 years,
who wants him?
Right, like he might as well just try and make a comeback at year 42 and maybe get the Jets to the playoffs as possible. Like, I don't know how that's going to happen. We don't even know. Oh, did you hear this, by the way? The Jets hired Tannenbaum.
Yes, I saw that yesterday.
What is that? It's like called 33 something or 33 Club or?
They hired him as basically like a consultant to help them pick their next GM and head coach.
But is that what he does now? Like, 'cause I heard he did something like that with Washington too. Like, is that his business? Like, does he come in and consult?
Possibly.
Like, he has a thing. I think it's called 33 Club or 33 Group or whatever it's called.
Could be.
And like him and a bunch of people go in there, and they have like apparently a list of GMs, a list of coaches. Only thing I'm worried about is
because he is not on ESPN anymore, right?
I haven't seen him on ESPN in a while, no. But my concern with that is he's an ex-Jet GM that also failed. So it's like,
but he was good.
He was good, but so was Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas didn't put a bad team together. Like, they got a lot of talent. They just suck for whatever reason. Like, you can't always blame the GM for some of these things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he did an outrageous job. Like, and just in my opinion anyway. But I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. So Woody Johnson is basically going to go off his suggestion and then pick somebody off this list.
Yeah, well, either Woody Johnson or Chris Johnson, depending on.
That's a whole nother story.
If Woody Johnson gets appointed to some position in England or whatever the hell.
He is, and then maybe he should hire. Maybe he should ask Tannenbaum to be the CEO or whatever to hire the GM. Don't make his bum brother be do this again. Like, what do you want to set us back 10 years? I'm honestly starting to believe Joe Beningo, by the way. Like, I always be like, he's a cranky old man. And obviously he's a lot older than we are. So, like, when he says, like, I'm never going to see the Jets win in my lifetime, like, for him that makes sense. But now I'm starting to believe that in my lifetime, we're never going to see the Jets win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, it's a possibility.
It certainly is. I was starting to think that we'll see an Islanders Stanley Cup, a Mets World Series, and at least 2 Yankees World Series before the Jets even come close to sniffing a Super Bowl.
It's quite possible.
It's sad, is what it is. It's very, very sad.
Sad state of affairs.
Yeah. Did you like any of the games this weekend? Like, I thought it was because of the buys. Like, there was a lot of flat games. Like, I can't even remember.
Well, other than the few teams that, like Detroit and who else has been scoring a ton of points, the games have been pretty flat across the board.
Yeah, and longer than usual. Because
there's a lot of just crap teams this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's still a bunch of teams that only have 2 wins.
Yeah.
You know? I like this upcoming week kind of scares me with some of these games and like fantasy and all this stuff. What's going on? Like, I don't know what's going to happen with some of these games, but like, you know, the Vikings squeaked out a win against the Bears this past week in overtime. The Titans upset the Texans.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's as crappy as a bunch of teams are, a couple of teams that started out like gangbusters are starting to come back to earth as well. So
yeah, absolutely. What else? The Buccaneers beat the Giants, but who cares? Did you see the little what was it? Baker Mayfield doing Tommy DeVito's thing?
That was pretty funny.
I thought it was pretty funny too. But other than that, like no games really strike me. I guess the best game for your buck would be the Cowboys Commanders because they scored so many points in the fourth quarter. But before that, it was a 10-9 game.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So you can't even say that was a really good game. And what's going on with the 49ers? I know they didn't have Brock Purdy. I understand that this week, but it doesn't look like
they had a bunch of big injuries though.
Yeah?
Yeah. And it looks like that it's going to go into this week too because I see they're underdogs and by like 5 points, I think it was.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was pretty.
Who are they playing? Let's see. Oh, they're 7 points. They're playing the Bills at home in Buffalo.
Right. There you go.
So if Purdy doesn't play, that actually would have been a good. I totally forgot about it. That would have been a good game to pick because it's not like they're playing in San Francisco. They're playing in Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean the Bills look pretty legit this year, so they shouldn't have a letdown. But you know they're good for a couple of letdowns a year too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's coming on Sunday night against the 49ers though. To be fair, like I don't know who they have left remaining. I know they have maybe the Jets again. I don't know if that matters. Yeah, I think they got them in a couple weeks, but like these games, like you got a lot of tough games this week.
Well, they got the Rams next week. Then they got the Lions. That'll be a good game.
That should be.
Lions.
Is that a Monday night game or a Sunday night?
Sunday, 4:00.
Oh, that's gonna get
In
flexed.
Detroit, it probably will.
It has to.
That's gonna be a good game.
Especially if they both win this week, that's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, then they play the last 3 weeks of the season are Patriots, Jets, Patriots.
Yep. So they'll wind up with at least 13, 14 wins, on the year, which is good. Good for them. I don't really hate the Bills like I hate the Patriots or the Dolphins, to be fair. Maybe it's because they're just in New York and they're only the real team that's actually in New York.
Josh Allen is pretty rootable for,
Yeah. And you hear I think he's engaged to Haley Steinfeld. Steinfeld?
Oh, really?
Yeah. They've been dating or something. They were doing something I saw on TMZ last week or something like that. I didn't know he was dating her. But good for him. He's got the world by the balls right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just see if he can beat Kansas City in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate boss right there. That's like when we used to play Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and you have to go beat all those people, and then you have to face Mike Tyson at the end.
Yeah.
That's basically what Patrick Mahomes is to football right now, especially with all the refs on his side and everything like that. You know, so you got that going for you. I really think it might be still a little too early. Maybe we'll wait till the playoffs, but I really would like to see the Lions make it to the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind seeing the Lions-Bills Super Bowl.
I just want to see the Lions. I don't care who it is on the AFC, because now that the Jets have no chance of making the playoffs, like, to me, if it's
Just as long as
anyone.
it's not Kansas City.
I don't even care about that. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing them go for a three-peat, and then maybe losing to the Lions. Like, that'd be kind of cool.
I don't know how much more of that I can handle.
Well, listen, you made it through the Tom Brady era, didn't you?
Yeah.
You could make it through this, I'm sure. You know, it's not nothing too crazy to deal with. I just like the Super Bowl. It's just fun, and I never get to see the commercials. I always want to see the commercials. I never get to see the commercials, or remember them for that matter. Any updates with this Juan Soto thing? It's been going crazy.
So I actually just saw something that I took a picture of so I can share it with you.
Oh, good.
It says Yankees plan, it's like thoughts on this, and it says Yankees plan B if they can't bring back Soto. So it's got Wells at catcher.
Okay.
Then at first base it says sign free agent Walker.
Okay,
for
Christian
first
Walker.
base.
I like that either which way.
Yeah.
I want him either which way.
At pitcher it says sign one free agent, either Burns, Freed, or Snell.
Mm-hmm.
Then at third base, it says sign free agent Bregman or Adames to play third base. Volpe at short. Move Jazz to second. Judge moves back to right field. The Martian plays left field. And trade for Bellinger to play in center field.
I don't mind it.
And I guess this is on the heels of, well, the whole Soto thing, and then now all of a sudden this talk that I guess, what's his name, is trying to get out of St. Louis, Arenado.
Oh, someone was listening to the radio today.
Yeah.
I also heard that, but I don't know about you. I want no piece of that.
Well, that's what it's.
That's like Anthony Rizzo all over again. I'm not even gonna do the Josh Allen thing. That's just like Anthony Rizzo
Yeah,
all
that's
over
what a
again.
lot of the comments are. That they much rather see like this happen than get an Arenado.
Well, because what they're doing is it's a little bit more on the cheap, but they're still decent ball players and they're still relatively young. What I don't like is taking Dominguez out of his center field spot and putting him in left, because we saw how he was playing in left when he came up, and I don't like that. I need someone to be a good left fielder.
You know, for me, I think these guys are, they're in the big leagues. They've made it to the big leagues, so obviously they're talented enough where, they can, with the full spring training and stuff, they'd be fine.
I don't know, man. I would just leave him at center and put Bellinger in left, if anything. But I still think you sign Soto and make two of those moves. I would just nix Bregman, because I could see him coming here and being a wash.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's done good against the Yankees as a visitor. I just don't see him being any good for the Yankees.
Well, listen, the deal is if they get Soto, then now, you're filling these positions with guys that don't have to, provide much power. But, if you don't get Soto, now you're having to fill these positions with guys who are going to have some pop, right?
Yeah. What I like, though, is even before all this amping up of Soto, and since I know you were listening to the radio, we'll get into that Soto thing in a second. My thing would be is trade for Cody Bellinger now. Anyway, he's a lefty. He can play first. Put him at first base, right? And then you don't have to get Walker. He's younger than Walker. I don't know. I think Walker's a righty. I like Walker, don't get me wrong, but if I had to choose between the two, monetary value would be Cody Bellinger for just the 1 year. You know what I mean? And then if he works out and has another great year, you can sign him to a 2-3 year deal after that. There's no harm, no foul. Like if he puts up gaudy numbers as a first baseman, you sign Soto, so you leave him in right. You keep Dominguez, you put Dominguez in center, and you put Judge in left. And you leave it like that. And then you put Jazz at third. Like you said, to your point, he's talented enough with a full 6 to 8 weeks of spring training. He'll be a good third baseman.
I mean, I guess he showed enough.
And then your only hole will be second base. You do it like a little rotation, a little Cabrera and a little DJ LeMahieu there, because you know DJ's gonna get hurt. And then what you could always do is in the trade market find a second baseman for the second half of the year if need be. If he doesn't, then you just take him, slapping the ball around,
So no one's plans are including Gleyber at this point.
No, I wouldn't think so. I think he's too young, and he's gonna want like a 7-year deal. And I think it'll be a mistake to give him anything other than like a 3-year deal. Like I'd take him back on a 3-year deal. That's it, and it wouldn't be much more than $60 million. I'm not paying him more than $20 million. And I think someone will give him more than that because the second base market is rather thin. So because of that, I could see him getting a 4, 5, or 6-year deal worth upwards of $160 million.
Really?
Could be, because he's better than most second basemen. I was doing some research not too long ago, and I'm looking around. And yeah, there's some good second basemen, but they're locked in at places. Like they're not going anywhere.
Right.
So the crop that you have to choose from is not much. So what I rather do is replace his offense in other areas. Like we were just talking about Bellinger, right? He played for the Dodgers. He was in the playoffs. You know he could be a big time stud. Put him at first base. You almost instantly an upgrade over anything we had there last year, right?
And he's a lefty?
Yeah. I think he's a switch hitter. I could be mistaken, but I definitely saw him hitting bombs from the left side. So, and I'll speak more about that in terms of Soto, but that short porch, like that could help him go from 20-something to 30-something on home runs to almost maybe 40, and all his other production will go up. As long as he stays within his means and keeps trying to hit for average, which he did with the Cubs last year. And the year, well, I think it was just last year, but he took his option to stay with the Cubs. And I guess the Cubs know they're not going anywhere or want to spend the money elsewhere, so they're looking to trade him. So I would gladly take him. And then everyone else is pretty much set. You're going to get offense everywhere else. I could afford not to have a heavy offensive person at second base. Like most second basemen don't hit for power anyway. So give me a Cabrera that could hit 260 to 280, knock in some runs, solid defense, solid base running. Even DJ too, like as a spot start at all those other positions. As long as he can stay healthy, maybe he gets you a couple big hits here and there. I'm okay with that. Then build the rest on the bench. You're going to have Trevino as the backup catcher. You got Grisham coming back. Maybe get another utility infielder. Maybe another outfielder on the cheap. And then you're solid. You're done. And then you have Soto back. And depending on how much Hal wants to spend, you could go after another starter if you want. If you really think that's the need. I don't honestly think that's the need. I would stockpile bullpen arms. That's just me. Because that's normally what the Yankees do really well at.
Yeah, and it looks like they need to.
Yeah, this year they need to upgrade the bullpen a little bit. Even though they got the best record in the American League last year, it was close. And they should have won a lot of those other games. And remember, Clay Holmes is coming off the books, so that's money you could spend on the bullpen and other places. I would just stockpile arms in that bullpen. And even if some of the guys have to start in the minors, how many guys get hurt in the bullpen every year? Right. Guys are going to be coming up and getting rotated through like no big deal.
That's a guarantee.
And they were talking about Soto, as they were talking about it today, it kind of made sense to me. I didn't know why I didn't see it earlier like these guys did. All these rumors that are coming out that are making you go all different ways, like the Mets are landing him, now the Dodgers are in, all 5 teams made him offers, meanwhile we haven't heard any kind of official offer yet. It's all like driven by Scott Boras right now, which makes, like the guy said, it makes them think that Soto is saying he enjoyed his time here in New York, he wants to stay with the Yankees, but for a certain price. So what is the great Scott Boras doing? He's trying to drive up the price to get Hal to put his money where his mouth is.
And I mean, that's his job, right?
Oh, 100%. I don't blame him. I'm not blaming him for doing that. But the roller coaster ride of emotions is going crazy. Like, I can't even look at anything right now because all these different things are coming out. And it's like, can we just get to February by now? You know what I mean?
And I mean, I'm sure with him it won't, but, you know, he's gotta be careful, because does he want to take a chance and have what happened to basically every Boras client last year happen to him this year?
I think that's why he's doing this now this year and he's not waiting. Because I think he's hoping by spreading all this stuff that Hal comes to his senses by the winter meetings, which is only like, I think 2 weeks away.
Yeah,
and a deal gets done there.
Like, do you think it's going to get done somewhere around there? Like, I didn't think it was going to get done till way closer to spring training, actually.
So at first, because of what happened last year, I thought it'd be done before spring training. Like, my original timeline would have been right after the holidays in the beginning of January. Especially if he was dead set on coming back with the Yankees, because then you really don't have to worry about so much like fitting in with getting down there early with a new team. And with what they were saying on the radio, it makes sense to me that if the Yankees could just match the number that they want, he won't even like look at any other offers and he'll just accept the deal and come back. The only way the Mets then would get him is Cohen would have to be what they want him to be, and he'd have to throw probably another $100 million on that to steal him to get him to come to Citi Field. The fluff with the Dodgers, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays, yeah, they all have money. The Red Sox haven't spent money in a while. They gave away, Mookie Betts for nothing. You know what I mean? That's just smoke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the reason why they're not coming out and saying any of it is because they're in the Yankees division. If they could spend more money and hurt them in other places, why wouldn't they?
Exactly.
So they're just going to stand quiet.
It doesn't help them to say, oh, no, that's not true.
Agreed. The same thing with the Blue Jays. So those are two teams. Like, Boras is smart. I don't blame him. He's using all the Yankees competition. He just lost to the Dodgers. Dodgers have a ton of money, just like every other team that's in this mix. Soto's not going to pick one of those teams over another for like a couple $1 million.
Right.
So basically what they're saying to everyone is, whatever their number is, whether it's 600, 650, 700, if the Yankees come to that number, he's going back to the Yankees.
Yeah, and I guess when it's all said and done, it's going to boil down to the years, right? Whoever...
I don't even think the years matter.
No?
I mean, if you give him, 8 years at $600 million, which is the money, maybe he wants $600 million, that might matter, but it might not. Because then he's thinking, okay, I'm 26, so at 34, I might have a chance to have another contract.
Yeah.
And then he'll throw in another stipulation, like, Boras, get me a player option in my 6th year, which will make him 30, you know what I mean, or 32, which is still in his prime. Then he could get another 8 years, which is even crazier. So, like, the way you could figure all this out, it doesn't pay to go down that road. But if you go down that road and you go down that little rabbit hole, there's a lot of things teams can do to get him his money and also maybe save your own face. Like, let's say you give him an 8-year deal for $600 million. Okay, that's probably almost $70 million a year, which is really close to Ohtani, even though it's really $2 million a year. But with that being said, if you give him an out at 6 years at 32, and let's say things haven't worked out, and he bails, you don't have to re-sign him, so you save a bunch of money. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. And if things work out and
then you sign him again. Then he's worth it. You win a couple World Series, he's worth it.
You're like another A-Rod
Right.
situation, right?
Yeah.
Have those two massive contracts
Right.
back to back.
Imagine that. Back then we were like, whoa, that's a ton of money. Look at the money we're looking at now.
Yeah.
And I know that's 20 years ago, and maybe a little less, because he signed with the Rangers just before 2004.
Mm-hmm.
But still, that's it's almost 3 times the amount, right? And A-Rod has almost 700 home runs. I mean, I know he was cheating, but still, not his whole career, hopefully. But yeah, it's crazy how many options you can have. And then let's not even talk about if Soto really wants to come back to the Yankees and he says, okay, you can match Cohen's number of 800 and you can defer the last 100. I don't care what you do with it as long as I get it. Like, there's all these weird options. Like, I almost want to be a sports agent right now just to have fun and see what these guys want to do. Because for a deal like this, I think you'd have to be somewhat creative, right? You can't just give them 15 years, 700 million, call it a day, and like there's no stipulations anywhere. Like, I'm sure both parties want to be protected and this and that, or make some more money. You know what I mean? Like, I would throw anything he wants at him. Like, I would be like, yo, you could defer it in year 4, you could defer it in year 9, you could defer whatever fucking year you want.
Yeah.
You know? And that will protect them, and then you give him as much money as he wants. They're making the money. The Yankees, just like the Dodgers and the Mets, they're all making this money.
Right. And listen, I think when it's all said and done, nobody makes more than the Yankees do.
They say the Dodgers recently, but I don't really believe it. I think the Yankees make the most. They're the highest, like monetary wise, baseball team in all MLB. So I can't see how they don't. Besides Cohen, I can't see it. They must make the most revenues. I guess what we're boiling down to is what I'm saying.
Right.
I know last year they made $694 million.
Let's see if we can look it up real quick.
Yeah, you have to, because this is intriguing. Because the Yankees went from, and I know it's not normal, but they went from an 82 and 80 team in 2023, not making the playoffs, to making it to the World Series with maybe a handful, not even a handful of guys, 3 guys hitting the baseball.
Right.
3 guys. Jazz didn't show up. Judge didn't really show up. Austin Wells didn't show up. Verdugo didn't show up. Volpe showed up in the World Series. You know?
So it says in 2024, the Yankees led MLB in revenue generation, supported by their expansive media deals, strong ticket sales, and brand endorsements. Dodgers came second. Others included the Red Sox, the Cubs, and the Giants.
Well, how much? What did they give you a number, or they don't even give you a number?
We're gonna check.
Okay. Because that stuff is interesting. You could literally, off your profits alone last year, sign Soto, and it wouldn't be a big deal.
Well,
you just didn't make any money last year.
Right. And then
But then this year you're gonna make a ton of
money. How many Soto jerseys are you gonna sell? How much of his contract is gonna be taken care of just by that?
And other endorsements, you know what I mean? Like just doing commercials on the Yes Network. I don't know if they get paid for commercials on the Yes Network, but I'm sure,
I'm assuming they get paid for freaking everything. I saw the number today. I saw something with the numbers today about the World Series shares. And it was the biggest in history. It was like 100 and what was it? Something like $122 million. Each full share on the Dodgers was like 400 and change, and the Yankees was 300 and change.
For each player or for each person?
Yeah, for full share.
Okay.
Meaning, I guess all the starting players or whatever.
Okay.
I guess there's criteria that you have to meet.
Wow, that's crazy. And you know what's funny too? Because Soto was only on a 1-year deal with the Yankees, I wonder how many people didn't buy his jerseys that if he signs with the team will buy it now. Right. He's locked in.
I'm sure there's a lot.
Because I know I was one of them, because I like the number 22. I would have bought his jersey. Like, I'll buy his jersey next year if he's on the team for any amount of time. As long as he's on the team for a couple of years, I'll buy it. I just didn't buy it last year because if he's not on the team anymore, it's stupid.
Yeah. They don't. I guess maybe it's too early, but they don't give you the revenue for the just last season. They just keep giving you the valuation.
You know, that's probably something that comes out at the end of the year. Yeah. Because they're probably still making money now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The Yankees' valuation for 2024 is $7.93 billion, which is 11% increase from last year.
Jesus.
And the Dodgers are second at $6.3 billion, so almost $2 billion less.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Whew. But yeah, basically.
Can you imagine? And the idea that in 1972, George Steinbrenner bought the Yankees and the Bulls, Chicago Bulls, from CBS for $10 million.
Really? Both teams for $10 million.
And then he sold the Bulls the following year for basically more than what he paid for both teams.
Really? So for more than
he-
10 million.
So he basically
Got the Yankees for free.
the Yankees for free. But imagine if he still owned both the Yankees
Oh
and
yeah.
the Bulls.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Well, why do you wind up buying the Bulls? They were just both CBS owned both teams.
Yeah, and I guess it was
Package
like a
deal.
package deal.
That's insane.
So can you imagine paying $10 million for something and now it's worth $8 billion?
And that's not all he owned either. Like he was big into horses and all this other stuff,
yeah.
real estate.
But I mean, the big thing is the Yankees.
Oh, of course. And
then to think with what these franchises are worth today and how everybody was, I didn't even realize that that guy that ended up buying the Redskins, the Commanders, what's his name, Josh Daniels or John Daniels, whatever it is, he owns the Commanders in football. He owns the Devils in hockey, and was it the 76ers in basketball? He owns 3 franchises, this guy.
wow, that's crazy. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money because football. Every team in football is billions of dollars.
Every team in any sport is billions of dollars.
I guess you're right. I guess now, yeah, you're probably
Crazy.
right. That is kind of crazy. Whew. You know what is funny too? How they just enterprised that whole Yankee brand too. Like he just didn't stop with the Yankees. Like he made the Yes Network, which is making him billions of dollars too. Like add that on because remember when Cohen bought the Mets, he wanted SNY, and the Yankees were the first one to get their own cable company and have their own channel, and then everyone kind of follows suit now, right?
Yeah.
Like you know, for the most part. So yeah,
We'll see how much longer those are around regional sports networks because those are dying like dogs.
you think so?
Well, listen, you have Yes. I'm assuming you have the Yes network, and then you just have everybody else. They are not.
Well, SNY is doing pretty good. He tried to buy Cohen tried to buy it for like an extra $2 billion on top of the Mets, and the Wilpons didn't want to give it away for him for another 5 years. So whatever they were doing, they're making money off it. They said we want to keep it. We'll sell it to you in 5 years for X amount of money. So maybe in some markets like Colorado, for example, that's gonna die because you could probably just put them on channel 32.
Well, but
you know?
these big ass networks are gonna soak it all up eventually, anyways.
I don't know, man. I don't know. With all this streaming stuff now, I don't think you can because you all got their own apps. So like you can get it anywhere. Yankee fans in Florida could just buy the app for $9.99 a month,
Right.
and everything like that. Like I don't think, like I said, I think some of them will get eaten out from like the ESPNs and all those things, only because it's such a small market. So you could put it on ESPN Plus or something like that, and then you could watch the Rockies wherever the hell you are. You know what I mean? But the big markets like the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, and there's a few other, even the Giants, I don't think those will go anywhere because those are old school teams and people move. Like you see here every day, people just going down south. They want to watch the Yankees. There's only one way to do it. You get the MLB Network package or you get the app,
Yeah.
you know? And what's even crazier is those packages I think are going to go first. Like the MLB package where they want you to spend $200 a year for 6 months of baseball, where you could spend $9.99 or something like that, or get it for free with your cable, you know? It all depends. It depends what they really want to do with it. But yeah, that was that. I forgot to do our picks, so we should probably get back to football for a second and start with our picks. I probably did terrible last week again. I've just been on a rut.
So last week, no, actually, you went 2-1.
Oh, that's right. No jet game.
You didn't
Woo!
have a jet game, so you went 2-1.
All right.
And the Wanderer and I both went 2-2. So pretty much nothing's changed in the standings. You're 25-22. I'm 26-21, and the Wanderer's 22-25. So
So I'm a half game behind, or a game behind.
It's still all bunched up.
All right, champ. You want me to start off first, or you want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. You go first.
All right, so I'm leading off with the Texans giving 5 to the Jags. After last week losing to the Titans, the Texans need a big win. The Jaguars aren't really playing for much right now, so I think Texans should be able to, get me this first victory out of the way real quick. Then we got my lonely Jets at home playing the Seahawks. And the Seahawks just came off an ugly win themselves. They only scored like 16 points. I forget who they even played, but it was like 16-6. Was it the Cardinals maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch that game, but they're terrible. But so are the Jets. The Jets are getting 2 points, so I'm just gonna stay with the Jets on this one. Hopefully that maybe they could get OW. Other than that, if they're gonna lose by more than 2 points. So I even thought about taking Seattle at first, but I'm like, what's the point? And then this game is gonna make it or break it for me. The Steelers versus the Bengals. It's a divisional game.
Poor Joey Burrow.
I know. I feel bad for this guy. I like him. He's probably my favorite quarterback, and not for anything that he really just does, just how he plays.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like him changing his hair or whatever and all this weird stuff that he wears or whatever. If he likes to do that, it's fine. When I watch him play, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Like, his team sucks.
He's as close as we're going to get to one of these old school grinded quarterbacks.
Yeah. Like, he went to the Super Bowl once and lost a couple years ago, right? And I think he beat the Chiefs that year, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the one year they lost, right? And didn't make it to the Super Bowl. So you have that checked in his box. Like, he went through Kansas City, made it to the Super Bowl, and then lost, right? And I don't really remember the Super Bowl, like, if they lost bad or not. It's been a few years now, but like, I want him to win. I kind of feel like he's going to be like this Dan Marino. Like, if he doesn't get out of Cincinnati and stays there his whole career, which I don't blame him if that's what he wants to do, I feel like he's just going to die there with never having won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have much time left, right? Like, I mean, you could say he has another 10 years if he stays healthy, meaning, like, that could be gone in a heartbeat. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, like, I don't know if he ever plans on leaving or going to a better, well-equipped team. Like, who I could see him going to? The Steelers. Get him a wide receiver. He goes to the Steelers. They always are in it. They always have great defense. You got TJ Watt there right now. And right now you have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Like, I know Russell Wilson's kind of working out right now, but, like, that's definitely. Like short term. But you go over there, I could see him going to a Super Bowl with the Steelers. Especially with Tomlin still there, as long as he stays there. I mean, he's been there forever now.
Yeah, he's
but
not going anywhere.
Yeah, but they keep winning. And even with the crappiest of quarterbacks or, just bad luck with injuries or whatever, he hasn't had a losing season in, like, I want to say it was like 13 or 17 years.
17 years,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So the Bengals are giving 3 to the Steelers. The Bengals are at home and they're 1-4 at home.
They're due for a big win.
They're due for some luck and a big win. And I like this divisional matchup because these games are always tough with that division. Like, if they play the Ravens, the Steelers play the Ravens.
They can go anyway,
Right.
I was seriously thinking about taking the Bengals as well, but I didn't.
Like, I like the Bengals to win here. I just don't. I'm taking a gamble on if they're going to win by more than 3. Mm-hmm. Now, if something weird happens or whatever, so be it, and they only win by, like, a last-minute field goal, but their field goal kicker has been terrible recently. So I could kind of see, like, this weird 4th and 4, and then they wind up getting it and just put it in the end zone, and the game ends. You know what I mean? So, and they're like, they were down by, like, 3, which will get me the win, right? And they need this win because they're still kind of in the playoff hunt. So if they get this, they're 5-7, looking good. I don't know who they have next week. It might be the Browns. It might not. But I could see them going on a late run, winning a couple games, and maybe sneaking in there at 9-8 or something like that. That's my third. And my final one, the Chargers at the Falcons. The Chargers are actually giving 2.5 points. After their bad beat against the Ravens, I feel like they're just going to come back and beat the piss out of Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, they're another one. They're like,
But they've always been that way. They don't even really sniff the playoffs.
Yeah, but they'll be okay because I think Harbaugh is just that good of a coach.
Yeah, no, he's definitely good. I mean, he's won everywhere for the most part, or at least went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So he's all right. Go with your picks.
All right, I too am going with the Texans over the Jags. The Jags are just, I think, can't get out of their own way at this point. I, on the other hand, am taking the Seahawks to beat the Jets. I think Geno Smith is gonna just rub it in the Jets' face just a little bit more, like they haven't had enough rubbed in their face this year.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then I'm taking 2 Thanksgiving Day games, so I'll have a good idea of how my week's gonna go after Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go with the Lions beating the Bears, giving the 10. Nothing tells you that they shouldn't score 50 points. So.
Right.
And I don't see the Bears scoring 40 points.
So with that game, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Whoever you talk to about picking this game, can you do me 1 or maybe 2 favors? I have the Sun God going in that game for my fantasy purposes and the Detroit Lions defense. So can you put a hurting on them where like maybe it's a pick 6 to the house, maybe Amon-Ra goes crazy for 12 catches, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Can you get my fantasy week going in a good way on Thursday?
Sounds good.
All right, because that's all I need. I got to win this week. I'm going up against the second place guy.
And then lastly, we're going to ride the Cowboys' momentum. Hopefully they can turn it around and win a game at home finally. Thank God their opponent is the Giants, so shouldn't be too difficult of a task.
No, I mean, I don't think so. The Giants, and they might not even be playing Tommy DeVito this week.
Oh, really?
Yes, Rosie got all banged up last week, so.
Surprise.
Right.
Now moving to the Wanderers picks. The Wanderer is going with the Broncos, who are facing. Who are the Broncos facing? The Browns. In Denver, given 5. His next pick is he's going with the Bills to beat the 49ers, like you were talking about earlier. So
Yeah.
There you go.
Smart. He was doing his research.
And then his last 2 picks again are the same as mine. He's going with the Lions and the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day.
So I'll know exactly how bad my weekend's going to be with your guys' picks.
Exactly.
So Dallas and the Lions. Okay, so I got to pay attention to those 2 games, the 12:30 and the 4:30 game.
Yeah.
And they did it smart this time. They're starting the game at 12:30, so that game will be over well before the next game starts. It'll actually be like a little bit of like an intermission, like 45 minutes or so. Maybe an hour, depending how fast
And
it
then
goes.
the same thing with the night game too, because I think the night game
8:30,
starts
right?
at 8:30.
That's good. I mean, the night game, not so much. What was the night game again?
Dolphins Packers, which should be a pretty interesting
Yeah,
game.
it should. I mean, they're both fighting for the playoffs.
Well, Packers are 8-3, playing well, and the Dolphins, these last couple of weeks have looked.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The Miami's
Yeah.
fighting for the playoffs still
Yeah.
too. They're in a similar boat, just a little bit more behind the 8 ball right now. So yeah, those are our picks. I'm just excited for. I just got to get through tomorrow. If I can get through tomorrow at work, I'm excited for Thursday, Thanksgiving.
Yep.
The twins are coming over to my parents' house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they'll be running around with the dog and everything like that. There's gonna be a lot of food, hopefully a lot of leftovers for the weekend.
Yeah.
So I don't have to cook. So, you know what I noticed? I don't know if you were watching anything as of recently, but I have a list here so I didn't forget of these movies that I saw over the last 4 days, maybe a week. I don't even remember. But I noticed there's not a lot of Thanksgiving movies. I was looking for like a Thanksgiving movie yesterday. I didn't look hard enough, but like I look on Netflix and like all these streaming things, and it's all Christmas already.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever, other than it's a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen a Thanksgiving.
But there's
movie.
never a Thanksgiving movie. The only one that I can remember that I saw like a few months ago, but it was a horror movie. It was a Thanksgiving horror movie, and I'm like, okay. I mean, maybe there's a reason why there's not Thanksgiving movies. Maybe it's not like popular enough. Like, like at least Christmas is like, romance, love in the air, all this other
and
stuff.
Plus, they're shoving it down our throats way before Thanksgiving's even here. So there's no time for Thanksgiving movies. When would they play it? During before Halloween?
Yeah, like I guess you're right. Like
That's what the problem is. There's no place to fit it because Halloween you got horror movies.
Yeah.
And then right after that's done, you're pretty much on the Christmas stuff already.
Yeah, because they start the Christmas stuff right in November.
Yeah.
And even in the stores, you go there and it's Christmas stuff everywhere right after Halloween. But it'd be smart. Maybe you get a good Thanksgiving movie and you pop it out in the movie theaters right after Halloween. Like the next day, November 1st, boom, Thanksgiving movie. I mean, it's got to be a good movie. It can't be trash. Like, it can't be one of these Hallmark movies that you just throw on Hallmark, you know what I mean? But like, you know, it's gotta have a good storyline to it. And I think people will get into it. You know, everyone loves Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? And you could maybe even surround it with football or something like that. Like, get that in the mix. People love football nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what they could do? They could make it like a comedy. Like, you know how Tim Allen used to do those Christmas movies and everything like that? Not just the Santa Claus one, but he did like Christmas with the Cranks and all that.
Yeah.
Why can't you do something like that where you have some quirky like family dinner and
I'm sure Vince Vaughn could throw together a nice.
that's what I'm saying. He did 4 Christmases. Why can't you do
Right.
Thanksgiving, right?
Exactly.
You know? And he's pretty much like not out of show business, but he's doing like prime movies now. Like,
He's got Bad Monkey.
yeah.
Bad Monkey.
I mean, that just came out. Like, you know, is there going to be a second season? Is there not? We don't know.
There's definitely gonna be a second season.
What I'm saying is he's on the tail end. You know, he's like Alex Bregman right now. You know, he's fading. You know, but you could probably get him on the cheap to do a nice, funny Thanksgiving movie. Is what I'm saying. Anyway, so I finally got around to seeing that Twister movie on Peacock. Did you watch that?
Yeah, I had seen that.
Yeah, to me it was basically like the same as the first one. It was entertaining. Nothing crazy to write home about. It's just that guy's in every movie now.
Yeah.
I forget his name.
I don't know.
Whatever his name is. The guy from Maverick, Top Gun Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like in every he's going to be in like every movie nowadays.
Yeah.
He's like the new guy. So whatever. But it was entertaining, you know what I mean? Then I saw this one I'm pretty sure you didn't see. The next 3 obviously, but one is like a Christmas movie, so like whatever. On Prime, it's called Jackpot.
I did see that with John Cena.
You saw it?
Yeah.
That was a cool concept, though. No,
Yeah.
I kind of liked it. Like the girl wins the lottery, but she has to survive the night in order to get the billions of dollars.
He's a pretty funny guy.
Yeah, like you know why I think he's funny, and not because he tries too hard, but like he doesn't seem like he'd be funny. But then how he acts and how he talks makes him funny.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and like you said, he's not trying too hard. It's actually comes pretty naturally.
Right. And I think it's just because he's like a wrestling guy that's pretty like big and you wouldn't think he'd be funny. So like when you see him in a funny movie, like another good one of his was Blockers. He was hilarious in that movie. But you just don't think he'd be funny, which makes him funny. Like
Yeah.
But not a lot of people could do that. Like The Rock isn't funny. That's why he does a lot of the action. When he does a comedy, he's like, whatever. Even Dave Bautista, the only time he was ever really funny that I remember him being funny was in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But every time I watch a John Cena movie, he's funny. Like for some stupid reason, I'm like, all right, this wasn't a waste of an hour and a half. Like I kind of liked it, you know?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
The next one is also on Prime. It's called Brothers. Did you see that movie?
Brothers.
It's with Josh Brolin and his brother, and apparently they're twins, is Peter Dinklage or Dinklage. And like they used to be thieves or whatever, but like,
Yeah.
Did you see it?
That's the one with Marissa Tomei?
Yes.
Yes.
You saw that too?
Yes.
I thought that was funny too.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good for a Prime movie, and I'm like just filling up another hour and a half.
Yeah.
I was like, it was a good movie. Enjoyable. If you need something to watch, definitely watch that. That was hilarious. You know who was also in it? Fat Brendan Fraser. He was the cop.
Right.
I couldn't take him seriously at all. I'm like, this guy, really? Like, he's chasing him down. Like,
Yeah,
all you gotta
yeah.
do is run. This guy's not going anywhere. You know? Poor Brendan Fraser, man. That guy was Tarzan at one point, remember?
Yeah.
And he was in The Mummy, too.
The Mummy, yeah.
Yeah, so whatever. That was a good movie. And then I watched this thing, Hot Frosty on Netflix. It's a Christmas movie. Watch it with a woman. This is all I can tell you. Like it's a decent Christmas movie. It had its moments of Christmas stuff and everything like that. It's basically a snowman coming to life and being like a real person.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And then going from there. And
Like they haven't done that
right.
10 times over.
Right. Well, they did it with Frosty the Snowman, basically, but he stayed a snowman. This guy became a human for some reason. And I don't want to read everything to it, but it's a decent Christmas movie, and it wasn't long. It's not like you had to sit through 2.5 hours.
Right.
Another hour and a half short, good one, and then you could go to bed. You make the wife happy or the girlfriend happy that she saw a Christmas movie. Plus, the girl in there is really cute. I forget her name, but she was in Mean Girls. Not Rachel McAdams, the other girl, the brunette. I forget her name. But she's in all these Hallmark movies now. I don't know if that's a Hallmark movie, but as I'm surfing Netflix, there was a bunch of Hallmark movies, and she's in like 100 of them. So like she's making bank off Hallmark right now. So good for her. I don't even know her name, but keep it up. And yeah, that's. Oh, one more thing. Do you watch the show on MGM Plus? It's called From.
No, I've seen the pictures of it, but I never watched it. Good?
You would love that movie. I mean, that show. It's on its 3rd season now, and it's completely... I don't know if there's going to be a 4th season. I'm in the midst of watching the 3rd season. It just ended. But I watched the first 2 seasons last year. And I can't even begin to explain to you how much of a mind fuck it is. Like, like you don't ever really know what's going on, but it makes you keep watching it.
And let me ask you a question. The guy in that, I guess the star of the show, is that the guy from Lost?
Yes, and Oz.
And Oz, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot he was in Lost, by the way. Good call.
And he's good. So.
Yeah, dude, he's amazing in this. And I just scratched the surface. I only watched 2 episodes. It's 10 episodes a season. And he's off the wall in this show. Wow. He's better than acting in Oz and probably even Lost, because the premise of the show is very simple. It just gets so like complex. So basically, this family goes on a road trip. They take a detour and they go into this town. And apparently there's like some kind of magic or whatever you want to call it. They can't get out of the town. Every time you try to leave the town, you just circle back. No. So then the people get there. That guy, I forget his name, but in the show his name is Boyd. He basically starts to tell him, like, you're not going anywhere. Like, you're here to stay. And then stuff gets crazier from there. It's like a horror show. But it's every time you think you have something figured out, they throw a wrench at you, and you're like...
That's good.
You're like, what?
Oh, wow. All right.
You have to check it out. It should be on your Fire Stick. Like,
yeah, it is.
Just start watching it, because you gotta... And like, feel free to breeze through it, because I want your... Like, I don't remember what's in season 1 and 2, but like, I need you to get up to season 3 before I finish it so we can talk about it.
All right.
Okay? So get on that.
All right.
All right? With that being said, have you watched anything? Because if not, you're starting this tonight.
I'll start it tonight.
All right. So you got nothing for me?
No, nothing of significance. Nothing of significance.
All right, well, that does it. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy it with your families.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving.
We'll be here next week to talk about our Thanksgiving adventures, I guess, if we have any.
Hopefully the Wanderer will be off the IL.
Yes, hopefully we have the Wanderer back. I want to see how Thanksgiving went for him and what exactly happened to his IL stint. And
hopefully he'll have some of his mother's leftover crumb cake.
I hope so, because that stuff is delicious. And if Wanderer happens to be bored and is watching the show, we want some crumb cake for next week. Don't have her make any extra for us, but just save us a piece or two.
Right.
And yeah, let's go Jets and Cowboys, and let's see what football does to us this week. That hasn't already happened to me the last 8 weeks of the season.
That's right.
All right, folks, enjoy. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week.